The extraordinary Arsenal star seems to be hearing the call of the mighty Anfield, a call that grows louder by the day. He finds himself at a crucial moment in his career where the decisions he makes now could shape not only his future, but also how he will be remembered for generations to come. The question echoing in the minds of many observers is clear. Will he stay at an Arsenal that, despite his heroic efforts, continues to stumble over its own feet? Or will Saka make the leap necessary to shine under the bright lights of Anfield, where stories of glory are written in golden ink? To understand why this moment is so important, we need to dive deep into Arsenal's recent trajectory and the current context at Liverpool. The Gunners, led by coach Mikel Arteta, endured yet another frustrating season. 5 long years have passed since Arsenal last lifted a significant trophy, and each year without silverware only amplifies the sense of stagnation. It's no surprise this season began with renewed expectations. With Manchester City showing signs of decline after years of dominance, a window seemed to open for Arsenal to return to the Premier League summit. But, as always with Arsenal in decisive moments, something failed. Liverpool, under the guidance of manager Arne Slot, left no room for hesitation. They took control of the competition like an unstoppable force, playing with intensity, passion, and tactical intelligence. Meanwhile, Arsenal tried to keep up, but soon began to stumble here and there, unable to maintain the pace required to reach the top spot. It was as if the Gunners were running on a treadmill, always moving their legs, but never really moving forward. The title slipped away once again, and with it came the inevitable feeling that Arsenal still isn't ready to challenge the giants of English football. But the disappointment didn't stop there. In the Champions League, what could have been the perfect chance to restore Arsenal's European glory, Real Madrid appeared as an unexpectedly vulnerable opponent. With neither the Spanish giants nor Liverpool in the way, Arsenal was seen as one of the big favourites. However, Paris Saint-Germain stepped in and ruthlessly swept the Londoners aside. For players like Bukayo Saka, these repeated eliminations must begin to ring like internal alarms. How many missed opportunities will be enough before he starts to question whether it's truly worth continuing to try to build a legacy at a club that seems choked by its own ambition? Mikel Arteta, always resilient in his public statements, can blame whatever he wants. A packed schedule, controversial refereeing decisions, or even key injuries. But the cold, hard truth is that Arsenal has systematically failed when it matters most. Being close just isn't enough. In elite football, you need to win, and win consistently. That harsh reality is something Saka is surely aware of. He is young, extremely talented, and entering the peak of his career. Does he want to spend his best years at a team that constantly hits the post? Or does he prefer to take a leap toward greatness, wearing the shirt of a club whose winning mentality turns dreams into trophies? Now picture, for a moment, Bukayo Saka crossing the sidelines at Anfield. Imagine him being welcomed by passionate hearts singing anthems that have echoed for decades. There, he would find not just a fervent fan base, but also a squad filled with iconic figures. Virgil van Dijk, the Dutch centre-back who embodies calm and authority on the field. Mohamed Salah, the Egyptian pharaoh whose killer instinct in front of goal is practically unmatched. Trent Alexander-Arnold, the prodigy right-back who reinvented the role with his vision and lethal passes. And so many other players who breathe victory. These athletes are not merely teammates. They are natural leaders who know exactly what to do in decisive moments. Joining this group would be like diving into an ecosystem designed to turn raw talent into monumental success. And there is a fascinating precedent for this. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, a former teammate of Saka at Arsenal, made that very same choice a few years ago. In 2017, he left the Gunners to embark on a new adventure in Merseyside. And what was the result? Premier League and Champions League titles, along with unforgettable memories alongside living legends of the sport. Oxlade-Chamberlain proved that bold changes can lead to extraordinary outcomes. Now, it's Saka's turn to decide whether he wants to follow the same path. He has in his hands the opportunity to write his own story, to be remembered not just as someone who played football, but as someone who won, inspired, and defined an era. For Liverpool, luring Saka would be a masterstroke. After years of establishing themselves as one of Europe's top teams, the Reds continue to seek players who can further raise their competitive level. Saka, with his creativity, speed, and finishing ability, would be the perfect addition to the dynamic system implemented by Arne Slot. Moreover, with only 2 years remaining on his current contract, Arsenal finds itself in a delicate position. If they don't negotiate now, they risk losing one of their greatest assets for nothing in the near future. This creates a unique scenario. Arsenal may need to lower their financial demands to avoid walking away empty-handed, while Liverpool has the chance to acquire a player who could be crucial in securing new titles. So, Bukayo, this might very well be your moment. Picture yourself holding the Premier League trophy or lifting the coveted Champions League big ears. These don't have to remain distant fantasies. They can become reality. You have in your hands the opportunity to write your own story, to be remembered not just as someone who played football, but as someone who won, inspired, and defined an era. Anfield is waiting eagerly, ready to welcome a new hero. Make your choice wisely, because time waits for no one. There's also a deep human element to this decision. Saka is not just a footballer, he's a young man carrying dreams, pressure, and ambition. He grew up under the watchful eyes of the media and fans, proudly representing Arsenal, a club for which he has a genuine emotional connection. Walking away from that journey won't be easy, especially considering the emotional investment he's made over the years. But at the same time, he needs to ask himself, how far can loyalty take him? How much is he willing to sacrifice his personal ambition for a sentimental relationship with a club that, unfortunately, has struggled to translate loyalty into silverware? Football is a cruel sport, but it's also a true reflection of life. Sometimes you need to let go of the familiar in order to reach for something greater. For Saka, a move to Liverpool would be more than just a change of jersey. It's a chance to rediscover himself, to test his limits in an environment that demands constant excellence. It's the opportunity to surround himself with mentors who have already faced the challenges he's about to encounter, and who emerged victorious. Meanwhile, on the other side of the equation, Arsenal faces an equally complex dilemma. Losing Saka would be a devastating blow to Mikel Arteta's project. He's not just a key player in the starting 11, he is the beating heart of Arsenal, the one who gives identity to the Spanish coach's style of play. Without him, Arsenal would need to completely rethink its strategy both on and off the pitch. And of course, there's the financial aspect. Selling Saka now would allow the club to raise substantial funds for reinforcements, but that only adds to the irony. Arsenal would be forced to use the player who symbolises their hope to fund the search for someone who can replace him. In the end, Bukayo Saka's decision goes beyond numbers in contracts or individual stats. It's about legacy. It's about answering the question that all great players face at some point in their careers. Do I want to be remembered as someone who tried, or as someone who conquered? Anfield, with its magical atmosphere and winning culture, offers the clearest answer possible. For Saka, now is the time to listen to the call of destiny and embrace the challenge that awaits him in Liverpool. After all, ask Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain how his journey turned out. He would probably tell you there's nothing better than trading mediocrity for a glorious destiny. And who knows, maybe in a few years, Bukayo Saka will be telling the same story, only brighter. And there's more. Liverpool is already working behind the scenes to close an extraordinary £60 million deal that could change everything. Want to know how they plan to pull off this sensational transfer? Click the card on the side and discover the exclusive details of this negotiation that promises to shake up the market.